Laugh. If you haven't laughed today, consider the day lost. The great comedian loved to say. He made millions of ordinary people laugh, yet also turned many of the powerful against him. The genius of silent cinema, without uttering a single word, could convey more than many actors today can, even with perfect voices and the most advanced technology. He lived a long, luminous life, unfolding like a black and white movie, alternating between glitter and shadow. He experienced the dizzying heights of fame and the sharp corners of poverty, won an Oscar for his genius in cinematography, and was even knighted by the British Crown. After his death, the body was stolen from the grave. Glory did not want to let him go, and fate continued to strike with cruel irony. His name was Charlie Chaplin. He was born at the very end of the 19th century, on April 16, 1889, during what Europe would later call the Belle Époque. The continent was recovering from the Franco-Prussian War, and people rejoiced in a newfound sense of freedom after years of bloodshed. It was an era of economic growth, scientific discovery, and artistic flourish. Back then, hope for a new life was in the air. Charlie's father, Charles Chaplin Sr., the son of a butcher, was a popular music hall singer. His mother, Hannah Harriet Pedlingham, the daughter of a shoemaker, tried to pursue a stage career under the name Lily Harley, but found little success. Although they never divorced, his parents separated around 1891. The following year, Hannah gave birth to a third son, George Wheeler Dryden, fathered by music hall performer Leo Dryden. Taken by his father at 6 months old, George would not return to Charlie's life for almost 30 years. Chaplin made his stage debut as a tot. After his father moved to New York, Hannah attempted to revive her career, though her voice often failed. At the age of 5, Charlie stepped onto the stage for the first time, replacing his mother when her voice unexpectedly gave out. That evening, the young boy earned his first applause and his first coins, tossed by the bustling, grateful audience of a London music hall. His mother's stage career was over. She earned a living sewing, while the children delivered newspapers. Poverty was coming. When Charlie was 7, his mother was committed to a psychiatric hospital. He studied reading and writing in an orphanage with his older brother Sidney. It was there, in harsh conditions, that his first universities took place, the School of Survival, Observation, and Internal Discipline. After 18 months, the mother went into remission, and the family reunited. The Chaplin brothers didn't have to study for such a long time anymore. Forced to earn his own living, Charles performed on stage from childhood, receiving 2 pence a day. When he took on any job, he was a messenger, working on a printing press. At the age of 16, Charlie's older brother helps him get a job in Fred Karnos' pantomime troupe. A year later, the younger Chaplin already had an impressive sum of £20 on his account. Out of the money he has saved, Charlie spends £3 on his first date with 15-year-old dancer Hetty Kelly, and he offers her his hand and heart. Hetty was too young, and the couple broke up after 11 days. The young Chaplin, performing with Fred Karnos' troupe, made his debut on Paris's finest stages, the legendary Folies Bergerac, Olympia, and Siegel. Charlie stood out in particular as the drunkard in the sketch A Night in a London music hall, instantly winning over the audience and making the entire city talk about him. Touring North America, the troupe often performed 3 shows a day, 1 in the afternoon and 2 in the evening, 7 days a week, sometimes without a single day off. Chaplin shared a room with another aspiring comedian, Arthur Stanley Jefferson, who would later become famous as Stan Laurel. Local newspapers soon began to take notice of Charlie. Mack Sennett, the king of silent film comedy and founder of Keystone Studios, had a keen eye for spotting young talented performers on stage and bringing them into cinema. Mary Pickford, Mae West, and Stan Laurel, he made them stars. During a tour of America, Sennett noticed Charlie Chaplin and in December 1913 signed him to a contract, opening Charlie the doors to the world of film and turning the young actor into a global cinema legend. In 1914, Charlie Chaplin made his screen acting debut in the comedy Making a Living. After 12 films featuring him had been released, he attempted directing for the first time, shooting the comedy Caught in the Rain. His salary rose rapidly and soon reached $1,200 a week, an enormous sum for the time. In 1914 alone, 34 films featuring Chaplin were released. However, the role of a coarse comic villain imposed on him by Keystone increasingly weighed on Chaplin. Films were shot at a frantic pace, sometimes in 1 or 2 days, without rehearsals and almost without scripts. Mack's Senate prized speed and farce, while Chaplin sought precision of gesture, the power of pause, and the inner logic of character. Contemporaries recalled that he was the only one who lingered on the set after filming had ended, watching the footage and mentally rewriting scenes. It was during this period that he began to consciously move away from the crude caricature typical of early silent cinema. His character grew quieter, more human, more vulnerable, and therefore truly alive. Chaplin always regarded his early films with severe self-criticism. He called them primitive, not out of contempt, but because he understood all too well how high the art of cinema could soar. This creative conflict proved decisive. In 1915, Chaplin left Keystone and joined the Essanay Company. There, in films based on his own scripts, the character that made him immortal finally took shape. The Little Tramp, baggy trousers, a tight jacket, oversized boots with toes pointing in different directions, a bowler hat, a bamboo cane, a toothbrush mustache, and a funny walk. The Little Tramp. He was not just a comic character. He was a human being in whom audiences recognized themselves. The beloved character of the Little Tramp appeared in 70 films by Charlie Chaplin and remained a screen star for over 26 years. In 1916, Charles Chaplin signed a contract with Mutual Film Corporation, which gave him the right to make no more than 12 films a year. By that time, he was earning $10,000 a week, making him the highest-paid actor in the world. His short films generated hundreds of thousands in profit, and offers for endorsements from cane, bowler hat, and shoe manufacturers came constantly, including a contract worth $670,000. In 1919, Chaplin, together with fellow Hollywood icons Douglas Fairbanks, Mary Pickford, and David W. Griffith, he founded his own studio, United Artists Corporation. "I went into the business for money, and the art grew out of it," Mr. Chaplin once said. "If people are disillusioned by that remark, I can't help it. It's the truth." Aiming for complete independence, in 1923 Chaplin founded the Charles Chaplin Film Corporation. By 1920, when his first feature film The Kid was released, he had appeared in over 60 silent short films. Edna Purviance convincingly played Charlie's fiancée in 20 films. But he took 16-year-old Mildred Harris to the altar, a young actress who had shocked audiences with her daring nudity in a Griffith film. Her pregnancy turned out to be false, and the marriage quickly ended. For his freedom and peace of mind, Chaplin paid $100,000. Charlie never forgot his mother. Until his last days, he felt guilty for the times he hadn't brought a hot cup of tea in time to protect her from the hunger that had damaged her mind. In 1921, already wealthy and famous, he brought his ailing mother Hannah from England to sunny California. On the ocean shore, under the care of her devoted son, Hannah spent her best years. Fame and fortune did not empty his heart, nor did they diminish his kindness and compassion. Lillita MacMurray, later known as Lita Grey, entered Chaplin's world long before becoming his wife. She appeared as the innocent angel in The Kid, receiving that role before any romantic involvement with the maestro, a rare and almost unique case in Chaplin's film biography. By 1924, the angel had grown up. After the release of The Kid and the signing of a contract for the Gold Rush, in which she was to play the leading role, the now 16-year-old Lita Grey was found to be pregnant. 35-year-old Charlie Chaplin attempted to resolve the matter quietly, offering her $20,000 in exchange for freedom and discretion. Lita refused. Supported by her family, a determined mother, a grandfather who reportedly arrived on set armed with a shotgun, a justice of the peace uncle, and a father holding compromising photographs, she insisted on marriage. Chaplin was threatened with up to 20 years in prison for relations with a minor and a crushing financial penalty. Charlie's second marriage, which made him the father of two sons he barely loved, Charles and Sidney, officially lasted slightly longer than the first. As a head of the family, Chaplin was more of a formality. He hardly lived at home and, over the course of 2 years, had affairs with at least 5 well-known actresses. Lita meticulously documented everything in a diary. During the divorce, those pages became the basis of a 25-page legal complaint, widely printed and sold briskly for 25 cents a copy to the public, turning the case into one of the most scandalous spectacles of early Hollywood. The divorce became one of the most expensive in Hollywood history at the time. 37-year-old Chaplin agreed to pay his former wife $800,000. $600,000 to her personally and $100,000 for the support of each child. This was less than the million she had demanded and allowed him to keep his shares, the studio, and the rights to the newly released The Gold Rush. According to one legend, the maestro, amused by the idea, secretly took part in a Charlie Chaplin look-alike contest. To his great surprise, he finished only in 3rd place. For 13 years, Chaplin resisted the advent of sound in cinema, fearing it would ruin the little Tramp. The first time his Tramp spoke was in 1935 in the film Modern Times. In the first week of release, box office records were shattered, but by the second week, after successful premieres in New York and Los Angeles, public interest noticeably declined. During the production, Chaplin grew close to Paulette Goddard, who played the leading female role, and the couple traveled to Honolulu, where they got married during the trip. Paulette became Chaplin's 3rd wife. In his first fully sound film, The Great Dictator, 1940, Charlie Chaplin played 2 roles, a Jewish barber and the fascist leader, Adenoid Hinkle. The film, which openly mocked Nazism and condemned fascism, struggled to reach wide audiences. In the early 1940s, many distributors and cinemas were hesitant to release it widely. Hitler, who, like Chaplin, was of the same age and had also started his career in the arts, but ultimately chose war, called Chaplin a Jew and public enemy of Greater Germany. In response to the dictator and in solidarity with the victims of the Nazi regime, Chaplin publicly declared that he was Jewish, giving rise to the legend about the origins of the brilliant comedian. His marriage to Paulette Goddard lasted about 6 years. After the film was completed, the couple parted ways peacefully without scandal. Goddard's next husband was Erich Maria Remarque, one of the most prominent anti-war and anti-Nazi writers. In 1943, Charlie Chaplin married for the 4th time, choosing the young actress, Oona O'Neill, daughter of the renowned American playwright and Nobel laureate, Eugene O'Neill. The bride's father opposed the marriage, as the groom was only a year younger than O'Neill himself. Oona was 18 and Chaplin was 54. The wedding ceremony took place near Santa Barbara in Carpinteria. True love entered Chaplin's life. He adored Oona completely and was willing to fulfill her every wish. She, having fallen in love with him for who he was rather than for his wealth or fame, gave up her acting career to devote herself to family life. Chaplin was overjoyed. Shortly before meeting his future 4th wife, Oona O'Neill, Joan Barry burst into Charlie Chaplin's life. She was unpredictably eccentric, appearing naked in his house, dancing on the lawn, and threatening suicide. Chaplin managed to persuade her to leave, but a year and a half later, Barry returned, claiming to be pregnant and setting up a real camp at the gates of his home. The man who had made Hollywood and cinema the pride of America and contributed millions in taxes was prosecuted with relish. The trial turned into a hunt for the head of the great comedian. Newspapers blared. Chaplin threw the mother of his child in jail. Dirty Jewish pervert. Chaplin struggled to endure the trial. He was ultimately acquitted, and later a blood test confirmed that he was not the child's father. Nevertheless, the court ruled that Chaplin had to pay child support, as DNA testing did not exist at the time, and the court relied on Barry's testimony. The financial and reputational fallout made this episode one of the most tense and scandalous periods of his life. In 1952, at the peak of the witch hunts, Charlie Chaplin's trip to London for the premiere of his new film Limelight proved to be fateful. The American soil on which he had risen to the heights of fame suddenly closed its doors to him. Endless gossip about his private life and his criticism of society and power turned the great clown, once adored by millions, into an exile. The Hollywood star was simply barred from re-entering the country. He would return to the United States only 20 years later to accept an Academy Award for his incalculable contribution to making motion pictures the art form of this century. Here, in Vevey, on the peaceful shores of Lake Geneva, with a view of the Alps, Chaplin built a new sanctuary, full of contemplation and reflection. Here, far from the hustle of Hollywood and the suspicion of America, he regained his freedom, but with it came the bitterness of loss and the weight of exile. This is his personal room and favorite library. He spent his entire life self-educating. Remember, like his brother, his university days ended when he was still a teenager. After her husband was barred from entering the United States, Oona O'Neill, an American citizen, decided to break the relationship with the U.S. Charles Chaplin and Oona had 8 children, the eldest being Geraldine, born in 1944, who later became an accomplished actress. She notably portrayed Charlie Chaplin's mother in the film of the same name. Worth watching. Their youngest child was born when Chaplin was 73 years old. Sir Chaplin's final work, both as a director and as an actor, was The Countess from Hong Kong, released in 1967. It remains the only film in which he appears in a brief cameo as an elderly ship's steward. The movie is light, naive, and occasionally funny, and is probably worth watching for just one reason: to see a young, radiant Sophia Loren alongside Marlon Brando. After that, Chaplin appeared on screen only occasionally and turned increasingly to music, writing and reworking scores for his own films. With no formal musical training, he would hum a melody, and professional musicians would turn it into musical notation. By 1977, his financial estate was estimated at over $40 million. Charlie Chaplin passed away on December 25, 1977, in Vevey, Switzerland, leaving behind the legacy of one of cinema's greatest masters and a family in which many of his children continued the creative tradition. His comedies helped relieve stress in those distant, terrifying times, and they are still needed today. A great man and a humanist, he possessed tremendous courage and, in the face of the war plague spreading across the world, was able to stand up to the fascist monster. In his silent films, he spoke volumes without uttering a word, more than any of the greatest orators could have said. And in the final monologue of The Great Dictator, he delivered words for all time, words that remain especially relevant today.